Hello, everyone, and welcome to EFAP
Hi.
Mini Superchat Catchup episode 41 or I'm not 100% sure. It was Retarded Avengers.
The one and
Oh,
only.
The
yay.
first of hopefully many of a indulging look at what the world thought of any given movie. We got to find out firsthand that Thunderbolts art, top tier art, actually.
I learned about beef.
Sure did.
That's right, beef.
How could you
Yeah,
talk about anything
beef,
other than
that's
beef?
a show.
You know,
That's
did Chris
a
Stuckman
show
have any clips
about
about beef? I don't think he mentioned beef, which is kind of remarkable.
No, that
Are you
is
sure he
interesting
didn't?
that he
I'm
didn't
pretty sure he
mention it.
didn't.
I think it
feel
was
like he
noteworthy that he
did.
didn't.
I'm pretty sure
Someone
he did.
didn't. Someone didn't, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't the usual suspect. I think the guy who just talks about superhero stuff exclusively, he
Yeah,
mentioned
Nando,
it, I think.
High Top, and Brown Table definitely all did beef. I'm not sure even Movie Bob did beef.
I mean, to be fair
I
to
can believe the movie
Stuckman,
Bob
though,
didn't do it.
like, he has to pack in so much insight into a really short space of time that it wasn't strictly relevant to all of the insight that he was trying to get across.
So much insight.
Well, he mentioned who made
I
it.
do fuck.
You mentioned the cast list.
He mentioned there were actors in it as well.
He's just reading the back of the DVD box.
No,
and that's
nothing
his
that
review.
insightful, Rags.
No, that would give
be
you
a
more.
Oh yeah,
crazy
because
amount of
then he would read
information.
he'd read the blurb on the back about what the movie is about, and yeah.
Might even be an opinion.
It's been funny seeing people cry about how the film failed. It's like, man, but this was actually one of the best ones. It's like, do you really believe that? Do you honestly, truly, sincerely believe that?
Yeah, and they made those posts like, "You can't believe you let it fail," and I'm like, why wouldn't I?
It's like, I mean, why wouldn't it? It is a film that relies like 95% on pulling from this era of Marvel that nobody likes. Of course it was gonna fail.
Yeah, no one gives a shit
I mean, the
about
only legacy
the new
character is
Avengers.
Bucky, and he's barely in it.
And
And
he
even
doesn't
when
want
he's
to be in
it,
it.
he doesn't give a shit. Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't want to be there, much like the audience.
Affected by the knowledge that I know what you did. Another film that's just funny to me.
Yeah, that's coming out.
Mm.
The Hook Hand
You're
Man
right.
is back.
Return of the Fisherman.
Yeah.
When I went to the theater to see 28 Years Later, and there was a couple that was sitting a few seats to my right, and we chatted a bit, and there was this one of them was this gal, and she seemed like genuinely kind of excited that they were making another I Know What You Did Last Summer, and was like pointing it out to her boyfriend next to her about like the hook and everything like that.
Huh.
And I'm like, wow, that's incredible, because those movies are absolute dog shit, the both of them. That's insane. Wow. Jack Black was in the second one.
What a legend.
Oh, yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. Love Hewitt doing. That is hilarious.
That's right.
To deal with the Hook Man, who's probably a disgruntled grandson or some shit.
Well, yeah, because
Of course.
they need to invent new relatives.
Yes.
As odd as that is to say.
But you're
What is
right,
the
they
need
do.
to play with the Hook Man? And
Well,
did
he's
they make up
iconic.
another horrible thing that a bunch of kids did in the summer? I guess. Funny.
Well, yeah, it looks like it's exactly the same thing, right? Or similar.
It's not a remake, I assume, right? It's a requel, as they call
No,
them.
it's a sequel.
It's
yes,
a sequel, yeah.
It's like God of War 2018.
They don't make
kind of,
sequels
in terms of
anymore. The reason they
movies.
call them because they're going to be retreading hard while simultaneously continuing the continuity, which some fucking scientist over in Hollywood figured that was the best. Get the best of both worlds with that, because reboots get you benefits, but also drawbacks because the continuity restarts.
What about,
Sequels get
is
you.
Running Man, is that going to be a requel?
Well, so
from
what I've heard of Running Man, it's just more apparently more authentic adaptation of the book, but that's a complication because a lot of people, when they think of Running Man, think of the Schwarzenegger film. So,
well, it's the case with a lot of stuff at this point. It's like, yeah, a lot of the time the film becomes what people associate.
yeah, well, and there's a legitimate conversation to be had there. If someone said, like, yeah, well, it should be authentic to the book. Like, well, it's a little bit more complicated than that. If you're trying to appeal based on the IP, then you should probably look into what people think the IP is, or think of the IP. That's just the truth. So, a lot of people are a little disappointed by already knowing, like, the story's completely different, and then they get corrected on it. It's like, this is the actual story. And it's like, that's a fly exactly in this case.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my eyes are glowing now.
That's good. That means you're either highly irradiated, which means you'll drop better loot, or it means you're a Fremen from Dune,
Oh, I remember that one.
right? And that's cool.
I got into several top 50 law schools by writing a personal statement talking about how TLJ was so bad it turned on my critical thinking, and I have you lads to thank for that. Thanks.
Hey,
That's
nice.
funny.
Congrats.
That's a fun story.
We're getting
That's
people into
funny.
law school.
That's right. That's right. We'll make the anti-legal eagle who will not defend Captain Marvel.
Man, why did he do
Prosecutor.
that? Why did he do that?
Because he's a leftist
Probably
ideologue.
politics is something to do with that, yeah. Like I think it was seen as a sort of don't let the idiot, crazy, racist, sexist people get a one over on the fact that this is like a legal, like, you know, legally she's actually in the clear, and let me explain how. And you're like, fuck off. Like, it's
She didn't.
ridiculous.
The Don did nothing wrong. The Don was being a nice guy.
Don's a hero.
He is.
A
He's
man
racist.
provides, and he does it even when he's not appreciated or respected or even loved. He simply bears up, and he does it because.
Or from something? Yeah, I feel like that's from something.
Don't be a cuck though.
Oh, it's from Gus Fring in Breaking Bad.
Ah, you know, I saw a video. It was described as an anteater, like his wife and his kid, the anteater. They jump on his back and he like starts walking around to ferry them
Yeah,
around.
they do that. Yeah, they got like the stripes on them. They're pretty. Anteaters are they're
yeah,
cool.
no, it was. I feel like we always enjoy seeing that. Like, hey, look, it's like a good parent in the animal kingdom. Those are not reliably found in the animal
anteaters, yeah.
kingdom. It's
You have like
complicated.
Get some
what are
wacky
good
results.
parents? Good parents are like so we got anteater. Foxes are pretty good parents, right? They take care of them, and I think they mate for a long time. Penguins,
basically, yeah.
I think a lot of
whereas,
dogs are.
Whereas lions, it's like, well, as long as you
your
turn out,
parent will be a good parent. Someone
well, it's
else's parent.
yeah. Well, no, but even then with lions, it's like you're not safe just because the lion is actually your dad. You might still be in trouble. It depends on how
Might
he's
just be
feeling.
lunch. Yeah.
Yeah,
that,
it's a vibe, and the mom's not going to do anything to protect you. So
She
it's
can't.
the video of like a big old centipede just allowed its children to eat it, like of their own survival or whatever, like a part of possible cycle thing. At least that's what it said, and I was just like, ugh.
But that's the thing is, whenever it's an insect, you're always a lot more like, is that what's happening? Are you being altruistic, or what's the deal? Is that can you even do that?
Doesn't even comprehend what it is that it's doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that yeah, I mean that's pretty good. Humans are typically pretty good parents. I'd say they're more
Mixed results
definitely
again.
quite good.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think as I understand it, orangutans have the longest, other than humans, the longest like period of essentially being raised by their parent, because there's a whole bunch of things that they need to be taught how to do. They got to be taught like which fruits are dangerous and which ones they can eat, and like a whole bunch of survival skills.
I think elephants are like that too, right?
Well, yeah, because elephants are super duper duper smart by animal standards. I don't know about do dolphins. Do they have to like get raised for years by
I think
their
dolphins are
dolphin?
supposed to be quite long periods in parental care, and whales are similar.
That's not surprising, I guess.
I would imagine that any creature where you have really long gestation periods and really long times to maturity, and you don't have like big litters or you don't have a fast reproduction cycle, it would be extremely advantageous evolutionarily to really take care of the kids you do have. I mean, humans are kind of the same way. A woman, like at most, is going to be having essentially a kid a year, and it's a big, it's a big deal. And obviously, the capabilities of once that kid is grown up are insane. But it takes a lot of investment and time, so there's a lot of value that you put into each one. Whereas if you're like rabbits or whatever, it's just like, well, it's not a big deal if half of them just die.
It's a numbers game with them. Yeah,
kind of, yeah.
It's just like enough of us will make it.
They made jokes about that with the possums in The Wild Robot.
Yeah, they did.
Oh yeah, that's right. They did. Yeah.
Love y'all.
Yeah, thanks.
What's a line
we're
of lavender?
lots
I
a
mean,
What's a
line of
line of?
lavender.
Noughts.
what's
You don't want to be doing that. That's not fun. I don't. Well, at least I don't. I don't. I've never tried it. I don't imagine.
Are
It'd be fun.
lavender is lavender some kind of a narcotic? I just thought it looked pretty and smelled nice.
I had a friend once. It's like a sort of flatmate at university who tried to buy a kilogram of weed and bought it back and opened it and thought that smells suspiciously nice. And it turned out someone had just sold him a bunch of lavender, and
He
like
snorts
you
it.
can't get high on lavender. No, he didn't even
Oh,
snort it. He just sort of. We made the most of it because lavender smells lovely, so we just used it
It
to
does, yeah.
adorn the house.
Potpourri and stuff, maybe. I don't know.
nice.
Yeah, it wasn't a waste. It was probably expensive.
Wait,
Then again, I
hang
don't know how
on.
much. Maybe the lavender's really expensive, and you got the better end of the deal.
Andor is over. What's going on here?
it's over.
It is.
And have you seen the rumor now that Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2 might actually happen?
Yeah,
saw
I've
that.
seen that rumor.
I
There's
mean,
no. I don't know.
as much as it didn't
I'm
perform well,
skeptical.
it does tick all of the cynical boxes, possibly more so than anything they have. Bringing in who is he's like the perfect actor and perfect character for what they're doing right now, their whole operation, right? Like, possibly the most liked character from the prequels, one of the most liked characters from the OT. The actor's the perfect age. You don't even need to do anything to him for him to play the era that they probably want to fuck around with, which has loads of space to do basically anything. Not that they care about canon. And then, of course, you have the potential to de-age him whenever you want and do live-action Clone Wars. You can bring in Anakin whenever you want. Hayden Christensen's right there. He's
Isn't there
willing.
also a rumor they're going to do that for Ahsoka as well? I thought I heard that he was
Yeah.
going to appear in a flashback in the
Yeah.
Ahsoka season 2 show, which will
This
be
is kind of what I'm getting at.
predictably
It's like
bad.
they're enthusiastically available and they know their characters and they know the choreography. Honestly, with me, if I were a part of Disney Studio and they said, what's the best financial decision? It's like, surely it is taking advantage of all of that. I don't understand why you'd want to make the Acolyte, you fucking retards. Like, it would be using someone like
The
Kenobi.
High Republic is the next big thing.
The big problem they have, of course, is they can't write for shit, and it's more offensive when they can't write for shit on something that people care about, right? So more Kenobi fucking ruining is probably on the table. It's just that the show was so horribly bad. I guess it did give them pause for thought for a while, but I would have thought Filoni would push for it. He'd be like, nah, we got this. I'll personally write every page this time, so it'll be a great success.
Oh yeah.
But yes, so as rumors go, I don't know, I was surprised that they hadn't done it already, I guess, because the Rey shit is what gets me, is like how are you guys still trying to put Rey? Are you serious? Like, why do you want to burn money? And then, of course, they burn a lot of money, so...
Yeah, they're used to it.
Wasn't that then recently removed from the list of upcoming films? I thought
Yeah,
I'd
no, Rey...
seen some of the Rey films now gone.
That's what I mean, like,
It's
when
in,
it
like,
was
limbo now,
announced
I
and
think.
she was at Star Wars Celebration, I was just like, holy fuck, it looks like it's actually going to happen. But now it looks like it's getting shelved potentially permanently. It's just like, what are you guys doing? Like...
Do you want them to make it?
Oh,
Would
well,
you want
I can't
them to do it?
lose, because if they make something good, I get to enthusiastically discuss it with you guys and enjoy an IP that I've loved since I was a kid. If it's awful, then get to call that out.
It's
And
content. Yeah.
there's plenty of meaningful shit
That's
you
why
can
I
drive out of
asked.
it.
I didn't know if you'd. Yeah, I did, because I didn't know if
Well,
just how you felt about it. Because I
what I
feel
want the
at this point,
most-
I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
I would
Do
take
it.
more Andor, of course, over the silliest of sludge.
Oh, obviously, yeah.
But
yeah.
at least if we're gonna get sludge, I would prefer the silliest of sludge.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
boring sludge.
If there was an Acolyte season 2, then I'll just be like, I will happily
Well, yeah,
convert this into
I mean,
revenue.
Book of Boba Fett and Kenobi were pretty high tier for sludge factor, while Ahsoka was, there was so much of it that was nothing. It was still stupid as hell, but
yeah,
you know what I
that
mean?
was a harder one to watch. Yeah.
You want Filoni to lean more into his Filoniness for Ahsoka to be better.
Or wolves.
So what would be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more like you could have Force Ghost. You could have Force Ghost. Who could you have? Force Ghost, Anakin, and Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, all riding wolves through the world between worlds to go back in time to fight some arcane piece of lore that no one else has heard of, and then somehow shattering the universe. Like Filoni, just let him cook with his stupid hat, and I'm sure it'll be fun.
Dude, by the time people listen to this, Kenobi season 3 is probably out. It's like, oh my god,
Oh
there
my
we go.
goodness.
I am the J.I.J. I'm an evil wizard, and I laugh at the absolute state of the MCU. Just go away for the next 5 years and be 5 years. 5 years. Unless the 5 years was
Somehow
spent
Star Wars returned.
making the next few. I don't expect them. It's funny, right? It's like, what does a Michael Waldron script look like if he gets a chance to rewrite it? I don't know. I don't know if he knows what that is.
Yes.
Would you like some Skittles with your hut cream?
I guess it'd make it. It wouldn't make it worse, right?
Guess so. Sheba dog squeezing a big red heart.
Oh, that's great.
Well, please, I beg you, cover Memoir of a Snail. That is somewhere on my to-watch list. Stop motion movie. Came out in 2024, I think.
Oh, so it'll probably be good.
Well, it's funny, right? It just we've talked about how stop motion just guarantees a level of quality because of the care in it, but IMDb's got it at 7.8, which is, you know, as thresholds go, that's probably, you might be dealing with something great, you might be dealing with hype, but yeah, I mean, I want to check it out at some point. I probably will. Hey, Massive. Thoughts on Spaced? The TV show. Saw it with a friend. It was really fun. Mark Heap and Nick Frost were amazing. I never watched it. No, I always meant to.
Yeah, never seen it.
Is that Simon? Is that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost? Is that the thing they did before the Cornetto, or am I thinking of someone else?
Oh yeah, that's it.
I think I've seen bits of it, and it was quite good. I think I just need to Yeah, no, yeah, I'm sure I've seen bits, and it was quite funny.
Great. If you could each pick a favorite quote from any movie or show, what would it be?
We get asked this question every once in a while. Not that it's a bad question; it's a good question. Suppose I'll give the same answer. I know it's certainly one that has stuck with me since I've heard it. And as you get older, it definitely gets more and more meaningful. It's actually from Avengers: Age of Ultron. Believe it or not, it's when at the very end you have Vision talking to the last Ultron bot, and he said, "A thing isn't precious because it lasts." Um, so that's kind of among, if not my favorite movie quote. Odd as it is to come from that place,
Doesn't he say a thing isn't
but
beautiful because it?
Something is beautiful because
there
it lasts. Yeah.
thereabouts. Yeah.
I think I know what yours is, Mulder.
Mine's. I can't
I think.
even. Everyone should know what mine is. The final line in the final episode of the Angel. I don't even don't want to say it because it doesn't mean as much, and I don't want to. I want you guys to get it when you first see it. So instead of me talking about all of it, but for anybody who knows, you know, it's more than just the line itself. It's everything. It's about the entire 12 seasons, as far as I'm concerned. Extremely.
I don't like these questions because I don't have one. There's usually just a collection of ones that I like that come in and out of my mind. And right now I'm not sure which one I'd be picking.
Not allowed.
Yeah.
Gotta actually have. You gotta go pick something. Otherwise, you can say it may not be your favorite, but you gotta pick something. Or Rags had to.
But,
I don't like
Lois, I'm
sand.
Pretty good.
Damn it! I don't like these questions because then I don't know what I'm picking.
Maybe, I mean, we could go like I mean, there's a lot of classic lines of cinema.
Ooh, Gandalf
Daddy, would you like
and
some
Frodo.
sausage? You know?
That's a good one. Frodo says, "I wish none of this had happened," and Gandalf says, "So do all who live to see such times, but that is not for us to decide. What we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us." That's quite a nice line.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's a good one. A lot of solid lines in that trilogy, actually, but that one always tends to rise to the top.
You should probably just continue. I'll keep thinking about it, and then I'll get back to you.
Okay, well, someone mentions here when we start talking about beef, got the iconic line from Jared Leto's Joker where he says, "You don't want no beef." Remember that? That might be one of your.
Oh, that's
Yeah, when he
ooh,
almost kisses that guy,
ooh.
and it's really weird. And
Oh, he was such a tryhard, wasn't he? If you rewatch like his intro
Yeah.
scene, you're like, "Ooh, you really want to be impactful as Joker." That's like your whole thing. Meanwhile, as much as I think a lot of people were immediately on board with Heath Ledger's Joker after the first scene, it was still, I feel, like I love his intro Joker scene, and the way that the characters react to it is kind of the audience too. When he first enters, you're sort of like, that guy, you like the makeup, and it's like, then he's nice and intimidating.
I
And
I
funny.
will say on the quote thing, I was like, I probably shouldn't pick something from Angel 2 since Mola did it. I should think of something else. But I do really like it, and you know what the quote is, Yubes, don't you?
I have an
I mean, it's
idea.
the other one. It's the
The
other
season
one.
2 one?
If you can say that there's two, there's one, and then there's the other one. Yeah. If nothing we do matters, then all that matters is what we do.
Yeah, it's an amazing line.
It's that one's really good.
Another all series encompassing. Yeah, well, there's a lot. So.
Like I said, I didn't want to pick something from Angel, even though again, I think it is one of my favorite quotes at this point. But it's like, yeah, you got to mix it up though. Get a bit of variety. You can't have 2 out of 4
Or
of them.
you can
be
just
from
recommit
Angel.
to even more of them. One of the things I was going to say is that the exchange with I'm going to say he, but they don't. He says the monster now. She's a victim. So were we once.
Yeah. I know which 2 characters, 2 legendary characters said that. Yeah.
I love that got to happen, man. it's I'm very happy about that.
Season 5. Season 5.
Greetings, lads. If you could each pick a... Oh, wait, I read that one. 2 days in a row? We're eating good. Yummy. Okay, I've eaten it all, but I'm still hungry. You dumbos can satiate that hunger by playing DDLC. Do it.
oh my goodness, I mean, maybe sometimes, maybe. I don't want no beef.
What's for dinner? All right.
That sounds nice.
I
mean, beef is good. Beef is good.
This movie was made by the team that did Salads.
That's a funny name for a show.
Because beef salad. Not like salad is the opposite of beef. All right.
Beef salad, is that a thing?
There's probably beef salad out there.
I feel like beef is pretty salad is pretty opposite to like beef feels like the archetypal quintessential like meat. Yeah. And if there's one thing men don't want to eat, it's a salad.
I would have aimed for like the opposite of salad is some kind of, because salad is typically associated with being just nutritious, good for you, right? Like you'd want to aim for something that's the opposite.
Beef is it's good.
Yeah, beef's a good guy. We can trust him. Can't trust.
Well, beef isn't, as I understand it, beef isn't as good a guy as chicken or fish.
Well, sure, but he's still up there in terms of he provides protein, right? I'm talking about we should be aiming for things that are like nutritionless crap,
Yeah, it'd be like a junk food. It'd be like a cupcake, or it'd be like a Cinnabon or something.
Pop-Tart.
Oh.
Yeah.
James Gunn presents James Gunn's Super Beef by James Gunn.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's been weird seeing people pretend like it isn't weird that he's like inserted himself massively into the marketing for the film and saying like, well, he's the director. It's like I can't think of a single time I've seen Steven Spielberg like insert himself on like a Entertainment Weekly like front cover for one of the films that he's made. I just it's unusual. Whether or not you think that it should be done, that's fine, but don't pretend it's not unusual. It is.
Oh yeah, this is atypical. If I'm thinking of examples, it might be like sort of James Cameron and Avatar has like a particular link to him specifically.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, James Cameron's earned that as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I think so.
If we want to make that case, like James Cameron is a much more important filmmaker than James Gunn.
Didn't loads of people tell James Gunn that he'd earned it? Because I feel like when Guardians 3 came out, for example, and everything around it was completely shit, there was a like a non-trivial number of people who sat there saying, well, you know, I'll give it a chance because it's James Gunn and I liked the other Guardians films. Like, he was told basically from the beginning he was quite different, and establishing difference now with every other superhero film is very important for Superman to get off the ground. So it might just be leaning into the playbook that he was almost given by the audience for Guardians, and is now, because not coincidentally, he's put himself front and center and used that position to say, and we're not doing things the way Marvel does it because Marvel's gone to shit for reasons. So he's quite clearly trying to say, this is a me film, which makes it different, and this is how we're going to do it differently. Again, it is weird, and it probably isn't a good sign, and it might not work, but I think that's probably the why of it.
Yeah, I mean, of course, something that would be added is that this is pretty farcical as a criticism to come from, like, the Snyder guys when it was called Zack Snyder's Justice League in big bold letters. Like, it's not an argument that can be levied by people who are fans of that film, because that was pretty indulgent.
As much as the fight will both be over and not be over by the time people listen to this, I would say it's like evolved past the love or hatred for Zack Snyder or James Gunn. It's just like they would have pissed each other off so much fighting over this, the two groups, that now they just want to blood. Like, fuck this movie. I hate it.
It's about countries, not kings.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just the point being, don't act like it's not weird that he's inserted himself massively into the marketing. It is. If you want to make arguments for why he can do that, that's one thing, but don't pretend it's not unusual. Like, yeah, well, he's the writer and director. It's like there are lots of writers and directors of films that don't put themselves as prominently in marketing for their films.
It is also like a little bit unfortunate if you're putting yourself out there to say, look, I am a trusted name and a trusted brand, but you're actually James Gunn. Like, that's not, like, trust and James Gunn, don't really go easily together.
No. Not anymore.
I don't like beef. Tough and chewy and gets stuck in your teeth like cooked vegetables. Soft and
depends on how they're
like you. Someone's probably tried that.
You can get away with it if you're being cheeky in your relationship.
You deliver it well, at the right time.
If you are with a girl and she is just like has a staunch, deep foundational opposition to being compared to,
I believe,
non-iconic things, then I don't know. You might have a loser on your hands.
Rags, if you were with a significant other on the beach and you had a really good camaraderie regarding humor, I could totally see you picking up a handful of stand and being, don't like saying force and rubber. They'd start like smiling and you'd be like, not like you.
And then immediately pivot into cooked vegetables just to throw them off.
Yeah.
I would, yeah. Like I would, if I was going to be in a serious relationship with somebody, they would have to be that. They'd have to match that kind of.
They have to have seen Attack of the Clones. I agree.
Obviously, we would watch it on our wedding moon or whatever it is, some important occasion. Yeah. I'd put it on in the doctor's office as she gave birth to her first child. It would be.
And the doctor almost got distracted by the Count Dooku Yoda fight. Oh.
Yeah.
No, surely if it's during the birth, you need to put on the end of Revenge of the Sith, because then it's the actual birth scene. For reasons we can't explain, we're losing her.
And you're like not paying full attention to the fact there's a TV. You're like, what? You're like, oh no, that's the fake person. Who, what's it? Natalie Portman said she wants to come back, but only if she gets to have a lightsaber.
Oh yeah. Yet another reminder of why I don't think I think I'll be okay if I just die never having seen another lightsaber again in my life. They had a good run. Buddy. I'm fine with just leaving them there.
Audiences are built on cope, or well, maybe not. Yeah. It's a personality. It's been there forever, and it will be there forever. MCU needs to be
lightsabers.
Ice. Stop everything, make nothing for 10 years, get rid of the current decision makers, bring in comic readers, and recast. I mean,
that's probably what they're going to have to do with stuff like Indiana Jones and Terminator.
Well, we talked about it on
there just has to be that big gap of time.
Real BBC. I think we mentioned it on. Remember we had that question? I stand by my answer, but like, if you could get rid of one person in Lucasfilm right now to do the most amount of damage to the current trajectory, which is a bad one. Is my point. Who do you think it would be?
Didn't you say Filoni?
Yes, I think everyone would say Kathleen Kennedy, but I think Filoni is the.
Both of them are very fair answers. I think that like Kathleen Kennedy appoints people to do this stuff who are the worst possible people to do this stuff, but now Filoni has sort of positioned himself shockingly to be essentially the next creative head of Star Wars.
Already
And
heading out
he must
anyway.
go.
He'll be out
Yeah.
within the next however many years. Whatever. We already know for a fact that she cares so little about all of this that good things can actually happen while she's there. Not because of her, just in spite of her.
Through apathy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Filoni, I haven't seen any Star Wars from him where I've been like, that's incredible stuff. Well, that's great. Trying to think of like, what is the best Filoni Star Wars thing any of us have enjoyed? And I mean like a line or a scene, Balin's skull.
But that's more him than Filoni.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
I guess technically Filoni gets credit, it's in his thing, but it's mostly just the actor being fucking cool. And having a particular way about him.
And so yeah, I think getting rid of him would have to force a reshuffle that you may end up getting someone who might be able to do something. Of course, you could end up with someone even worse.
You have to.
It's possible.
You could. I'll roll the dice. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, I would roll it.
We don't have anything to lose, really.
But the truth is, you need to get rid of it all, from top to bottom. At the entire company, but all the creatives in there right now, it's like we need to talk about. People say like it's silly to think like Tony Gilroy should be the creative director, and it's like no, only if it's between the people who are currently working on Star Wars. But I wouldn't want him on Star Wars unless he wanted to be on.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want him to do what he wants to do. He's like Flanagan in that sort of way. I don't want to force him into something. Just do the thing that you kind of want to do, And we'll be there to check it out.
These are some of the same people who accuse others of being sexist for saying the same stuff about current Marvel characters. What would they have said that was sexist?
Like they don't mean it's sexist, or they don't think it is, but it actually is. Like the horseshoe of, woke and stuff. Potentially. I'm not sure what they're referring to though. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Insane how people can say about Black Widow the things that previously get you called misogynist now that... Oh! It's because they were all shitting on Natasha's story, weren't they? That became like a weird thing of, wow, Black Widow sucks, but Yelena's amazing.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's just like, wrong. It's not even close. Black Widow was awesome in the MCU. Yeah, and Yelena sucks ass. And they didn't even remember Yelena's character. They're all just loving the fucking depression arc. And you know that all of them are just begging to be like, it's so authentic. I've been through.
As a depressed person myself, yeah.
Even they know it's like, all right, calm down.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
We can be Thunderbolts. Good news, Rags.
Can we?
I don't want to.
Like you and I together?
I really to be a Thunderbolt.
I mean, any random person can be, given that's how they selected those characters, right? And you just roll the dice and see what comes up.
Is Platoon in cement replaced Joe in honey? Why can't they just coexist? What happens when you mix honey with cement? I don't know. Let's find out.
I think you get some really sticky cement or some very very chunky honey.
That sounds like like a Factorio type. Maybe not Factorio because they're trying to go realistic, but like a video game thing. We mix honey with cement, and now we've got sticky cement unlocked. Like that's what it would.
Yeah. Like it's the video game intuition. It's that level where it's like honey is sticky, so it makes the thing stick. Okay, and that's just enough because video games are fun,
Do you ever
as
play
long as it
Scribble
is
Notes?
at least somewhat. I think I did a long time ago. I don't remember much about it, but I know the game you're talking about.
It's a series of challenges, like get to a place, kill a thing, blow up a thing, blah blah blah. But you can just draw. You type in like a word, and it'll give you that thing. Try to solve the problem with whatever the item is, and you can combine items. obviously limited by somewhat of technology, but I remember finding it very satisfying. A little Big Planet in a way. Played the latter years of that franchise.
How many of them are there?
Right?
Are there
I
two of
think there were
them? Two, three?
3. And then there were spin-offs. There was like a racing game, and I think there was just a Sackboy game, like on just his own adventure, like a more conventional platformer.
It does feel like Sackboy walked Astro Run.
Yeah, I'd say so. But I mean, I guess at that point you could. I mean, how far
Oh
back
yeah,
do you want to take it, right?
there's just a couple of things that connect them, I guess. Oh, not just the way they look, but the eras and Sony and stuff.
Yeah, in a way that's a little bit different from someone like Crash. I'd say
Yeah.
Sackboy and Astro have. It's more the idea that they're kind of almost like a good sort of base template character that you can then do a whole bunch of other stuff with. I mean, you see it in Astrobot, all of the different, bots that you can collect, and how there's kind of a unified style for representing all of the franchises compared to Crash, who is much more like a Mario or Sonic of being a distinctive character in his own right.
Oh goody, High Top. I'm gonna come back to this.
Pop him in the microwave. Yeah, because it's high top. You don't want to. There's some things you reheat in the oven. You know, there's some things you just you just put it in the microwave. Fuck it, whatever.
So this, I think they're being genuine because they put a shrug after this as well. I liked Yolanda in Black Widow.
Yolanda, that's
it's
her
just
black
like,
friend Yolanda.
Not a name, but secondly, like, she's probably the best in that film, I guess, out of all the characters you.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, she murders some people at the beginning, which is kind of fucking weird. But
Talking about the mind controlled, or you talking?
No, right at the
just
beginning
like
of the film when she walks in and
right at
shoots
the
them in the
beginning.
head.
The guards and the
Oh, so, no,
scientists and stuff.
yeah,
She
but they're
just
saying
executes them.
they're saying in Black Widow. That's what I was saying.
Oh, in Black Widow.
Oh, in the movie Black Widow? Yeah. I
Remember
think
she
I mean, gosh, the bar's so
well,
high.
okay, wait. Sorry, I forgot the prison scene where they bury. Right.
She said it was really cool, yeah.
She was the only one that got to act in that movie though.
Didn't David Harbour get a couple of scenes of acting? Much like Thunderbolts, he also got a
was-
couple of scenes of acting, but like most of the time he's just a drunk clown, which is frustrating.
What's funny is the ratio is probably the exact same as it was in Thunderbolts, where she also got to act in Thunderbolts and then act a little. Probably. Florence Pugh is a great actor because she is playing a character with no confidence. You can tell the actress has a lot of confidence. That was apparently something Grace Randolph said.
That
I can
sounds like
believe
that sounds like a Randolphism.
You would say it for sure. I just didn't know. she would, but did she? That's also a sort of good work today,
Quite a
fellas.
Randolphian line, yeah. Oh,
Awful.
good day to you.
Buffy the. If you guys ever do a second war arc, you should definitely watch Gettysburg from '93, as well as its prequel, Gods and 2003.
I've heard of these. I've never seen them though, but it's weird that these are things from a long time ago that I just remember when they came out.
Arms are greasy, wet. Arms are heavy. There's meat on his grill already. Ground, not spaghetti. He opens his fridge, but the won't come out. Beef. I won't forgive you if we watch Stuckman in the future and he's not edited this way. I will have to try and remember. This is Nero.
From Devil May Cry?
Oh, or the Roman Emperor.
I don't.
That's
That's
possibility.
probably not.
No one
it's
remembers that guy.
it's
Everyone
probably
remembers
Nero
Devil May
from the Devil May
Cry,
Cry franchise. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. With his cool robot arm and also cool like demon
I thought he
arm.
had a. I thought it was a. I thought it was a demon arm. So he has a robot arm
Well,
and a demon
so
arm.
Well, sorry, in 4 he's got the little sort of demon arm, but in Devil May Cry 5 he had he could like attach different robotic arms that had different functions. Cause the arm got
Okay.
ripped off. His arm got ripped off, so he needed to. It was a really cool mechanic because Devil May Cry 5 is like insanely good from that standpoint. From in terms of its design, like there were a whole bunch of different attachments that had different functions that you could incorporate into the combat, so you could like get a whole variety of different arms and kind of mix and match, and then use them like however you wanted. It was super cool. And then eventually you could use the demon arm, so, you know, you get everything. That game was so cool. God, that was such a cool game.
Is that the one that I see all the memes from constantly?
Did you see the one of Dante doing the sort of Michael Jackson, like the dancing, like with the hat,
I
the
think
cowboy
so.
hat?
Yeah, I think so.
But I
Is
mean,
that
Devil
it?
May Cry 4, he does like theater. So you might have seen that.
I think it was
Like a
from the whatever the
Shakespearean
newest
kind
one.
of like monologue, basically. It's pretty fun.
I like Grace, hearing 5-year-old.
Grace is way more interesting as a sort of character in the rogues gallery compared to a lot of other. She's not her unique thing is that she will surprise you with the things that she says, and sometimes you get really weird ones like the Cat Mario thing. But then other times she makes an actual point that like nobody else does.
True.
It shocked us. She was the best in the. I think she came out on top of the.
She absolutely did.
Avengers
She's
people.
I think that she is and it's almost like because I think a lot of people hate her. But I mean, in terms of just her ability to like have insights into films, the reality is I think she's more valuable than a lot of these other people.
Agreed, but I'd also say she's insane. Her brain is wacky and fried.
Yes,
and that's why we love her.
That's what makes her so fun. Yeah, like she's really, she's like you can't get bored watching Grace Randolph. I sometimes just chuck her into a video to make sure the audience is still awake, and then they complain.
Well, yes, because I mean, you just need to get a clip of her talking about like, crazy. It's like, yep, all right, now you're awake. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, she's the one that coined evaded, which
Evaded.
He did.
Like, yes, he did, Grace. Yes, he did. All over the place.
But yeah, the problem the other ones face is trying to climb the YouTube ladder, and so there's certain things you're supposed to say. Like the beef thing really comes to mind for that. Like, oh yeah, you gotta say that. That's the take. That shows you're intelligent.
Well, yeah, and there's a variety of different reasons, right? For that Nando guy, it was probably like, oh, I probably should mention that because that's like a thing that will show that I'm paying attention. Whereas with a character like High Top, he is.
Because he made sure to mention more people, but the problem was he showed that he didn't know anything about the other people. As in, like, you know, I shouldn't just mention who everyone knows made it. I should mention the other people who actually did make it. Then starts mentioning names. He's like, I think they had something. Yeah. Anyway, like.
Whereas again, it feels like in a case like High Top, it's because he aspires to be like people like that, essentially, because they're like storytellers, you know, and they're like the real storytellers making the real story, and that's what he wants to be. So it's like, yeah, it's worth
curious about that. I feel like we're much more ready for any good or bad creator to do the opposite. We're going to be like, all right, fine, yeah,
I'd
look
say
at you.
so. I
mean, I love an underdog story.
Meanwhile,
yeah, no, that it's. I understand what you mean. Like, we could expect that Michael Bay, it's like, you know, he might like make something, right? Where other
also,
people
if we
just
watch
write
something
him
that
off
was
completely.
genuinely incredible from Zack Snyder in 2026 or something, I'm pretty sure we would be like, okay, wow.
Credit where credit's due.
What happened?
Yeah.
Well, we'd immediately check who's working on this thing. We'd be like, who's the writer, who's the cinematographer, how much involvement did he have? And if he was credited with all of those things, I'd be like, wow.
Okay,
just
there
wow.
you go. Yeah,
holding out on us. We would think that this was like a big con. Like he was playing a character like Neil Breen or so. Actually, I don't know if Neil Breen's playing a character.
I probably would.
But like, you know what I mean, you know?
Be interested in seeing what he had to say about that movie if he made that movie. Like as in, if he said he enjoyed making it or if he was trying something different or, you know, stuff like that. I'd just be like... But the reason I bring that up is because I feel like High Top is the reverse. If the people who made Beef had anything to do with Thunderbolts, then it's gonna be good. And if it wasn't good, then he must have missed something. As opposed to, man, they could have just made some shit though.
Well, I think time goes on, and I think maybe not even as time goes on. I mean, of course, you got this, like as you mentioned, Chris Stuckman, like this confusion with the people who you are good at your craft if you make something that is good. Like it's like it should be more descriptive than prescriptive. Not like, oh, this is a Christopher Nolan movie, it must be good. I just don't get it, or yes, it will be good. Not just, oh, because this person has done, an example, Flanagan or whoever, Gilroy. Like, oh, because they have made good things, they are good, not the other way around.
That's
And I
probably a
think a
good
lot of
example,
people forget
actually.
about that.
Flanagan's someone who, like, I want to see the life of Chuck, right? If I've seen it by the time this is being heard, I want to see it because he made it, but I simultaneously would be like, there's every chance it could be terrible, it's possible, and
It can happen. Oh yeah, absolutely.
fine. The whole like bias in favor of creative. I was wondering who would come the closest to that. It's like maybe who's someone who, when they make something,
Like, what
you're just like,
specifically?
how could I dislike it? Anything with Anthony Hopkins in it. Just like even
Um,
Rebel
An
Moon.
example.
well, if he ever decides to have like a bad performance before he dies, then maybe. But seeing as he apparently is staunchly opposed to that, then I doubt it. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess there's going to be people who I'm always kind of like interested in, like whatever Gilroy does next. Of course, obviously the things that Michael Flanagan does. Um, I mean, there's always actors and creatives that you go, huh? Chris Sanders, right? He's the robot Drain Your Dragon guy.
Sure,
Chris
yeah.
Chris Sanders, right? Um, I feel like there used to be a time when we had more of these auteur kind of people.
I
And
quite
I guess
love
David Lynch is
Martin
dead now, but
McDonough be someone who I'll always check out his work, even though because In Bruges I think it's just like one of the best films ever, and then Seven
it's
Psychopaths I
insanely good.
adore. But then Three Billboards and Banshees of Inisherin are both like, oh, they didn't give me what the other two did. But
Yeah, I didn't
I'll
care
still
for
want
Banshees.
to give anything he makes a chance.
Yeah, I can recognize I can respect Banshees of Inisherin, even though I didn't like it or think it was very good. Which is not something that I could say about many bad movies that I see.
You could maybe have done that had you not made every villain in the MCU like a multi-dimensional god. No, actually, when Super Satan is invading my planet, I don't want a depressed ex-assassin. John Wick won't cut it. Well, yeah, I mean, the Thunderbolts as they stand, not going to be able to help anybody with Galactus, Doctor Doom, unless the plot allows
Except
them
with
to.
well, they've
Yeah,
got
their power
Bob,
level's
haven't
not there
they?
yet.
Like Sentry
Well,
has the power level, but then they in the post-credit scene slightly changed how he worked. So it used to be he was amnesiac and forgot everything that happened in the movie, which is great because he was the subject of the movie, and that's exactly what you want your
Oh
characters to do.
yes,
But then
love
in
it.
the post-credit sequence, it was, oh no, I do remember everything, but I can't use those powers without becoming the Shadow Thanos. And I say, well, that
that's what I was
isn't
going to
what
bring
used to
up.
be the case.
Like, the one person who might be able to do anything against them is also likely to become a villain. So it's like, oh, well,
Could be interesting if they wrote it well and that was like something that was in the back of everyone's mind. It's kind of like the Hulk, sort of. Insanely powerful, but kind of uncontrollable potentially. You're letting out the
like
beast.
that's where we're at every time. It's like that could be good.
Yeah, it is. This would be good if it wasn't bad.
I want to know as well, like how easy Bob is to trigger, because you could have some fun with that. All Doctor Doom has to say when they meet in Avengers Doomsday is "I fucked your mum," and then he turns into fucking Rage Thanos and blips everyone into Depression World again, and it's just so easy to break him.
Then he just leaves. Yeah, he just unleashes them upon the planet, and then Doctor Doom leaves.
It really bums me out that the Fantastic Four is probably going to be awful. Or Fantastic Four is going to be awful, because they were the only comics I really read when I was a kid. I liked Reed Richards. Yeah, well, you know, there's not a lot. I'm assuming it's out, and everyone has already decided it's terrible by now. So, yeah.
Hey, watch it. You're gonna eat those words.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, like, I hope that these movies are good. I don't want to keep going to the movie theater, coming back and saying, "Well, the popcorn was all right." I'd like to go to the movie theater and see something that has some value to it.
Sure. All
I'd
the
like to
time.
go. Yeah, like I didn't care for it, but 28 years later, because we haven't actually talked about it at all, just because this trip and everything. But I was like, well, there was some stuff in there I liked. I wasn't miserable, and then I just I want to go to the theater and see nice things. I want movies to be good. I want
Yeah.
stories to be good.
Yeah. Can Robot Luther team up with Joel? Spelled with a
Luthen or Luther?
even spell the robot version,
Martin
which would
Luther?
be L
Yeah,
U
maybe like
H
no,
dash R.
maybe Lex Luthor, but with the robot suit.
Oh, yeah.
Get a
I
robot
don't know if
suit.
that's
why
what I mean. He does have a robot suit, yeah.
Yay!
It's
Finally.
made of like in the cartoon. He's got like kryptonite made out of it or something. He's got like kryptonite all over.
Kryptonite made out of robot suit. I think you mean the other way around.
Yeah. I
uh,
don't. No. I think that's what I saw. That's what I saw.
finally, more terrible video essay coverage. One.
Hell yeah.
Grenades were. Thanks to the late night laughs, I now ship Grace with Chris.
Chris
Loved.
Stuckman is a happily married man, isn't he?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Love the new format. And finally, I just rewatched episode 166. Rags said Revenge of the Sith is easily the best prequel, but on your Outlaws stream, said it was the worst, which is a horrid take. What gives?
So I think that sounds like I have indeed changed my mind on it. I think there is I would say the vast majority of people, when asked about the quality of the prequels, would say that of course Revenge of the Sith is the best. However, I think I've sort of come around and thought I'm not doing this to be spicy or controversial. That's just the result of the opinion. But I would say that I think Revenge of the Sith is the worst because I guess if we compare it, for instance, to the Phantom Menace, a lot of the stuff that happens in Phantom Menace is pretty compartmentalized and meaningless. To the point where I would say if you were going to do a remake of the prequels or to sort of draft the prequels as a series of stories, you could probably not even really have that movie or most of it, and put that time into something else, like say the Clone Wars or his training and blah blah blah. Maybe even have maybe could controversially have Luke and Anakin, or Anakin and Obi-Wan maybe hang out a little bit together. But I think Revenge of the Sith, in terms of the importance of the plot, with what happens with the Senate, with what happens with the Sith, the plot to overthrow the Republic, the end of the Clone Wars, all that stuff, the rise of the Empire. Unfortunately, pretty much all of those plot points are really, really terribly to poorly constructed, and a lot of the things that the characters do is bafflingly stupid. So even though I will happily admit that the highest points in the prequels are in Revenge of the Sith, and there are some very, very cool stuff in there, undeniably, like there really are. I think that it is unfortunately the worst because it's the most important in its failures.
It's in a
But
weird
if I
place
was
where it's
gonna
like
watch one
the
again, I'm watching Revenge of the Sith.
that's like it's the easiest one to watch, but it's probably the worst one to think about in the sense that it's easy to watch because there's no irritating kids or Jar Jar or anything like that in it. But then, like you say, it is so integral to setting up everything that happens next, and everything rushes to this conclusion, and then we're murdering kids for reasons, and it's the minute you think about it, it gets worse. But it is easily visually the nicest one.
Oh yeah, it's the most. I think it's got much better pacing than the other ones do. I think that there's it looks pretty darn good in a lot of places for, the time and everything. Whereas I would say like episode 1 and 2, they got some rough looking stuff in them. They really do. But you see the movie that could have been more than any of the other prequels. You see the trilogy that we could have had. Um, just I mean, like I said, we've all said this. The prequels essentially launched the renaissance of Star Wars. You had like a 20-year gap between movies. The prequels come out. You have new eras, new characters, exciting new world, great expansion on the galaxy, and so many new characters and people and cultures and cool stuff going on. And for that, I'm extremely glad and incredibly grateful that it did that, especially because this came out when, I mean, you were probably at about the age where the prequels were big as a part of our childhood. Yeah, it was huge. It was a big cultural force. So, and I'm very glad that it happened. I just wish the movies weren't dog shit.
Oh,
But I like them mostly. Asterisk.
what a controversial way to end this Super Catch-Up.
Send your complaints to the usual address. We'll see you on Saturday.
Sure will, but for now, toot tip, cheerio, bye-bye.
Later,
Yeah, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.